So now I want to talk about 5 don'ts. 5 things to never do when you're drafting an email. Don'ts. So first thing, as I talked about, always have a reason. Don't ever send out an email that you don't have a good reason to send one out. And that also means, as I think I mentioned before, don't just send the same email over and over and over again. Second thing, don't overuse images in emails. Most of the time these days, things like like Gmail or Yahoo or things like that will automatically block images in an email. So a lot of times you'll see email that's like forwarded, and you'll have dear whatever, paragraph, 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 and then there's like a picture right here, paragraph, and it goes like that. So a lot of times though, these images will be blocked and they won't be able to see them unless you click on allow images from this person, and that's a spam kind of security thing that they put in. So it's okay to use an image, and a lot of people, if they regularly get emails, will make it so they see your images, but you don't want to overuse them. You don't want to have like an image here and then something else like down here and then something else over here, because usually people aren't going to see those images, and it's just going to mess up the formatting of the email, and it's going to make it look really bad and really ugly and hard to read. So only use one image per email, if even that. You don't even have to use an image in an email if you don't want to. And then again, I'd mix it up. Maybe every once in a while you do, maybe sometimes you don't. The third thing to don't do, send without testing or editing. You always want to have somebody test an email before you send it out. Send it to somebody who will receive it, look it over, make sure you're not having any obvious misspellings in the first sentence. Make sure that the links that you have work and are going to go to the right place. Make sure the dates and times and things you say are correct. Make sure you're not have any obvious grammatical errors. But you always want to, and have multiple people. Usually, we'll always have somebody do what we call final eyes, because anyone who's involved in actually drafting the email, for them it's hard to look at the email with fresh eyes and see something wrong with it, right? Because if you're the one that helped write it, then you've got that kind of perspective where you're only looking at certain things. When you get somebody who has completely fresh eyes who hasn't seen the email at all yet, that's the type of person you want to have test the email. And send it to them first, have them look it over, and when they give it the okay, then you can send it out to everyone else. Because the worst thing you can do is send out an email to somebody that has got an obvious misspelling on it. There was one group that didn't do this right. They sent out an email a few weeks ago that had a misspelled word in the subject line, which is just, you're always like, oh. So they misspelled recession in the subject line. Very bad. So always make sure you're testing an email. And the links, the subject lines, grammar, spelling, all of those things. And also when you're testing, send it to several different email addresses. That's another important thing, because sometimes emails will look differently in Gmail than they do in Yahoo or in Hotmail or some other type of service. So test it in a couple different email accounts just to make sure the formatting works in different ones. And then fourth on this is my fourth one. Yeah, always opt-in. Let's call this opt-in only. This is something I talked a lot about in the last session. Never buy emails from anyone. Never send an email to anyone who didn't voluntarily opt in to receive them by signing up for a petition or signing up through your website or contributing money or something like that. Never buy an email list from somebody and send them emails who don't know who you are. Because one, it's not going to work. They're not going to give you money. They're not going to take any actions for it, or at least a very low percentage will. And two, what they're probably just going to do is mark you as spam. And that's just going to make it so that, one, they're not going to get the emails, but also anyone else. So if enough people who get Yahoo mark your emails as spam, Yahoo will stop delivering all of your emails to anyone with a Yahoo account, even if they want to receive them. And then finally the last one is, be mindful to dodge those filters. Dodge the spam filters. I saw a stat the other day that there are 200 million emails sent every day or something like that, and 90% of them are spam. It's just ridiculous. So there's obviously a lot of really, really intense filters. Especially this is true when your list gets fairly large, up in the 10,000 range or more. Then you've really got to be careful about making sure that those internet service providers are actually delivering your emails. And for really, really big things, if you get one of those things like Convio or Democracy in Action or some of the more kind of well-established email delivery platforms, they will work specifically with all those ISPs and say, this is a client of ours, all these emails are opt-in, and it's called whitelisting, making sure that the service providers are delivering emails from you to your members. Even then, though, it doesn't work, because they're always changing up their things, and they're changing up their filters and things like that. There's a few things, though, you can do to avoid getting caught in spam filters. First off, you're never going to send any attachments. Don't ever send any attachments in an email that you're sending out to a large group of people. If you want them to see something, then have a link that goes to a page where they can see it. But don't try to send out any Word documents or Excel spreadsheets or anything like that to a campaign list. Avoid using words like free. Avoid anything like that. And using the word free in the subject line is a really, really good way to get nailed in a spam filter and not have it be delivered. So lots of things. And using like special characters like semicolons, things like that will often get you caught in them in the subject lines. So just make sure that your email looks nothing like like other spam emails that you get. And that's going to be really the best way to make sure you don't get caught in those filters. For smaller, if you're only emailing out a couple hundred people or a couple thousand people, it's usually not a big concern. But when you start to get a larger list, that's something you really have to be conscious of, and it's why you almost have to buy one of those more expensive platforms, so you make sure that your emails actually do get delivered to people.